My name's Lesley White and I'm delighted to be able to give you a brief introduction to the magical world that is Letterland. But please remember, this is a very brief introduction, and if you have any questions or want to ask anything at all, please direct them to training@letterland.com, where we will be more than happy to answer your questions as opposed to this general overview. The aim of Fix It Phonics is to encourage a love of the English language in a very child-friendly way. We want our children to enjoy the magic of learning another language. We make it multisensory and we include all sorts of activities from across the curriculum to help the children be engaged and excited by the idea of learning English. Our programme is based on characters, so every letter in the alphabet is linked to a Letterland character, and it is the relationship of those characters to one another in our story-based approach that helps the children remember all about the magic of that English language. Learning to read, write and spell in English is complicated. And so we want to encourage the children, yes, to hear phonics, to understand the sounds those letters make in words, but it's more than that. Children need to expand and extend their vocabulary so that they can converse and understand what's being said. They need to speak with fluency so that when I walk into a classroom and ask, "What's your name?" the child can respond and say, "My name's Tom," or Lesley, or whatever. So we want the children to understand what I'm talking about so that they can be part of a conversation. They also, however, need to be able to read and write. So all of that comes together within the world of Fix It Phonics. There are 3 levels within Fix It Phonics. The very first level, where the children will start, introduces simple words, simple vocabulary, includes topics so the children are engaged and understand how to use those words in a context. We then build from an understanding about the A to Z, A to Z of Letterland and the sounds those letters make in words, and we put them together. These characters of Letterland become friends, and that's included within level 2, so that the understanding that the children gain in level 1 is then developed in level 2 and further developed in level 3 to include a full foundation of literacy for these young children. We cover all 44 sounds that are included within the English language. We also cover very many different spelling patterns. We introduce the shape of the letters to the children and they can practice making those shapes on paper and in books. However, more important as far as I'm concerned is that the children are introduced to speaking and listening, because we don't always write, we don't always read, sometimes we have to talk to each other, and so that communication is what we're introducing and uncovering within the Fix It Phonics programme. So all of that and much, much more is included as we work our way through the Fix It Phonics programme. The key features of the programme are to integrate language teaching with those sounds using the Letterland pictograms. But we introduce a very multi-sensory approach. We make sure the children are engaged, enjoying learning about English. We want to teach them in a variety of different ways because different children will learn in different ways. Some are encouraged to learn by looking at pictures. Some perhaps that's not their approach. Perhaps it's more of a speaking and listening approach that they do. We introduce carefully controlled language so that they're not bombarded with too much information, but they need to be able to engage, to understand and want to learn more. So always we're thinking of the children. They are the most important resource we have in our classroom. And so we move through the Fix It programme and start at the very beginning of level 1. The products that we use within our Fix It Phonics material are student books and workbooks. There are 2 student books to divide the programme for the course of the year. We reinforce it using software. The programme comes complete with a pack of audio CDs. Children are therefore introduced to native English speakers, and they can hear pronunciation of the language by those native speakers. So there's a range of material that we use within Fix It Phonics. The teacher's booklet very clearly explains to teachers how repetitive and how simple this process is. So please don't be put off. I promise you, it really is easy to use and fun, both for you as a teacher and for your children. We use chants, we use songs, we use stories, we use listening exercises, anything we can think of to make it fun and making it interesting. And so you can see examples of that again at our website. This new software, which has recently been added to the programme, enhances in so many different ways, and again we will use that as we go through this presentation. Letterlanders themselves are characters who have developed over time to help the children learn. All of them are fun, and the children will gain and have fun learning about them, but they will also have their favourites. They'll like one character perhaps more than the other. Again, if you go to our website, you can see a downloadable sheet with all the characters' names, and helpful hints as to how to pronounce the sounds that these letters make in words. We teach in the SAT-PIN teaching order, and so that's the way the teaching books have been compiled and put together. So the children are gaining knowledge and then being able to blend those sounds together to make words. So it's a carefully and cleverly coordinated programme designed to make your teaching entertaining and fun for the children. Let's go to Letterland and let's be introduced to some of the characters within Letterland. First character the children will learn about is Sammy Snake. So we're going to start this presentation thinking about Sammy and thinking about the way we will introduce Sammy to the children. We'll use our student books and workbooks and use the icons that will help you understand which of the books I'm referring to if I fail to mention them as I go through the presentation. Most important of all are our big picture code cards. Every character will be introduced using what we call as a sound trick. The sound trick introduces a character. In this case, it's Sammy Snake. Sammy Snake will help the children remember that in most settings, in books, in print, they will only see the plain letter. This is what the children have to see normally. But I'm hiding behind here, in the magical world of Letterland, Sammy Snake will help them remember. And it is this use of both sides of the cards that we have to retain and remember within our teaching. So Sammy Snake will help the children remember to make a S sound in words. Within the student books, the children will be introduced to Sammy Snake. Hi, my name is Sammy Snake. And using the audio...
Level 1, Student Book 1. Let's meet Sammy Snake.
Hi, my name is Sammy Snake. I say S. Let's say my name together. Sammy Snake. And again. Sammy Snake. Let's say my sound together. S. And again. S. I start words like sun, sea, and sand. Say the words with me. Sun, sea, sand. Once more. Sun, sea, sand. Super.
Sammy Snake says S. He starts words like sun, sea, sand.
Every one of our characters, every one of the sounds of the English language is introduced in that same simple, repetitive way so that the children become engaged. They know what to expect. They may not know the words, they don't know the vocabulary, but they certainly will expect to be introduced to the character, the sound that character makes in words, and a few words. In level 1, we introduce 3 focus words for each letter of the alphabet. If your children have greater understanding, a larger vocabulary, there's always opportunity to extend and expand that vocabulary, but the programme itself focuses on 3 words. These are the 3 words that we introduce for Sammy Snake. And this is page 2 of, or actually page 3, but it's the opposite page from the introduction to Sammy Snake's major picture that we've just looked at. So you've got the pictures there to help reinforce what we're actually talking about and what we're describing within the initial picture. Those words that you can see highlighted on the screen at the moment that start with Sammy's sound, sun, sea and sand, are then reinforced within the workbook. So the children have to find these objects within the blank picture and then colour in the picture once they've found those words. We do games, activities, as I said, a multi-sensory experience. In this case, we're using the workbook to find an odd one out, but there's no reason why you couldn't use items that you have in the classroom. If you have a picture of the sun, picture of sand, then make it even more realistic for the children. The vocabulary cards, the word cards that we have introduced, have the pictures of those words. So again, that reinforces what the children are learning about. For every letter, we have an action associated with that character. In Sammy Snake's case, it's the very wavy Sammy squiddling his way through words, making that sound.
Move and chant.
S, s, s. Sammy Snake. S, s, s. Sammy Snake.
But it is very important that the children understand that Sammy is hiding behind this plain letter shape, and that's what they will see in print. For every letter of the alphabet, we also have a song that the children can learn. Very slow and easy and simplified so that it's not complicated for the children, but it's there to help them remember, again, the sound and to give the repetition.
Let's sing.
So we'll all sing together that Sammy Snake says S.
Sammy Snake, S. Sammy Snake, S. Sammy Snake, Sammy Snake, Sammy Snake, S. Sammy Snake, S. Sammy Snake, S. Sammy Snake, Sammy Snake, Sammy Snake, S.
The stickers give reward and motivation for the children's hard work and effort, and again, bring a smile to everyone's face. We have other resources that the children can equally use, because in a classroom situation you might want a big book so that all the children can be focusing on the same page at the same time. So we have introduced the big book as well. The shape of the letter is obviously equally important, and we want to encourage the children to create the shape in the correct way. It's very difficult for children to know whether they start at the top or the bottom, the left or the right when making a shape. But Letterland helps them by helping them to trace those shapes in the air and then on books or in stories, and they can see the image in our software. So all the time we're giving them encouragement to create Sammy's shape in the correct way, starting at Sammy's head before swirling down his body to finish at his tail. And that repetitive approach, making that shape over and over again, helps the children remember how to create Sammy's very special shape. It's not always about making that shape with pencil and paper. Sometimes it can be making it in a multi-sensory way, either using sand or rice and creating shapes on iPads, any way you feel like. Rainbow writing is one of the many techniques we will encourage the children to use. Rainbow writing makes the image so much more fun, using a blue crayon to create the letter shape, and then a red one, and then a green one. It just makes it much brighter, much more interesting than if you're only using a pencil. Arts and craft activities help the children as cueing systems, as clues to help them remember and retain information about these characters who aren't just letters, they're friends. The children enjoy that learning and fun experience of learning about their friend, Sammy Snake. Noticing small details, helping the children to look and find the odd one out so that they can see differences, means that when children are looking for the difference between more complicated shapes, they're spotting and identifying whether we've got an A in the middle of a word or an O in the middle of the word. So we need to always be asking the children to look, to retain that information and see the difference between shapes and identifying the shape that makes the S sound. We're going to click the software on and find Sammy Snake. And Sammy Snake introduces himself.
Sammy Snake. I say S. Let's say my name together. Sammy Snake. And again. Sammy Snake. Let's say my sound together. S. And again. S. I start words like sun, sea, and sand. Say the words with me. Sun, sea,
and sand. You can hear that this is exactly what we've just been learning when we were listening to the audio CD. So the software and the audio complement each other and make sure that the children are retaining the information that we think is so important for them. We can talk about the sound the letter makes. We can repeat the action, as we've already learned about that. The song is again repeated within the software. But what I really want to show you is how we introduce the shape within the software.
Shape. Make the letter shapes with your finger in the air as you watch them on the screen. Then listen to the songs and stories.
Although Letterland introduces both the lowercase and uppercase letters, we concentrate within our programme on the lowercase. That's because the children only need uppercase letters at the beginning of their names, so it's very important that they can identify those uppercase shapes, but they need them at the beginning of their names and at the beginning of sentences. The rest of the time within script they're going to be using the lowercase, and so that's what we concentrate on, but obviously we introduce both. The song about the handwriting shape reinforces where those letters are started, how the letters are formed, and makes again a very memorable impression for the children.
Start at Sam's head where he can see, stroke down to his tail, oh so carefully. Start at Sam's head where he can see, stroke down to his tail, oh so carefully.
It is not necessary for children who have a very limited grasp of the English language to learn the words exactly for these songs to begin with. In time they may pick them up, but the whole point is that the visual impact of seeing where to start, where to finish, and creating that letter shape is there and is visually explained to the children with words when they can use them. Within Sammy's case, the upper and lower case are just more or less the same, except that Sammy has taken a big breath when he's asked to do the superly important job of starting his name. And he looks very much larger and more important. But if there was a change in shape, as some of the letters do, H, for instance, Harry Hatman, makes that in the lowercase shape. You can think of him hopping along. But then when Harry is asked to do the important job of starting his name, he puts his hands on the ground, his heels in the air, and he does a handstand. So the story links the lower and the upper case and reinforces what the children need to remember and read to retain. And one of the activities that will be included within the software is an identification of those uppercase letters. So we're always trying to help the children reinforce their learning in so many different ways. All the letters within the Letterland programme move across the page in what we call the reading direction. This gives the children an orientation, an understanding that within the English language we read from the left to the right, that we create letters in a particular way. And when we have a complete Letterland training programme, we include further explanations to help teachers be able to help the children understand about the directionality of those letters. This also helps with the next stage of our process, putting those sounds together in words, so that we are reading words from the left to the right. So as well as the orientation of the individual letters, we get the idea about putting these letters, sounds together into words. And that is important. We do not make sounds on our own. I've been introducing you to Sammy Snake going s, but I don't sit here all the time just going s, 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 s. That has no meaning. The sounds are only important when they're together with other sounds in words. And so very early on within the Fix-It Phonics programme, we are introducing the children to blending these sounds together to create words. S, at, sat. And we have various techniques to help the children remember to blend these sounds together. One of the most popular is our live spelling routine, where the children take possession of the cards, take possession of the sounds those letters make, and then together with their friends can stand there and help think about the s, at, together reading sat. They've already been introduced perhaps to Peter Puppy as well, so maybe we can go with Talking Tess, followed by Annie Apple, followed by Peter Puppy, t, up, tap, and blending those together. Other strategies, other ways of teaching about blending these sounds together are included and are introduced as we further progress through the Letterland programme. Once we've talked about the sounds the letters make in and how they go together to make words, we also need to introduce to the children topics. That's one of the things that young children need to be introduced to and need to understand. They will want to learn how to greet other children. And so the first topic that we have within the Fix It Phonics programme is to introduce themselves. Hello, what's your name? My name is Sarah. What's your name? I'm Sam. And so the children will be introduced to that and actually put it into practice. My name's Lesley. What's your name? And so around the class they can go, extending and understanding the way of greeting each other. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you? I'm fine, thanks as well. So again, children are learning about conversation, and that's so important. It's not just about can they read, can they write? It's also about the need to be able to communicate, to understand topics. So greetings are our first way of saying, hello, who are you? We'd also want to introduce the children to colour, because young children need to talk and understand about the different colours. They need numbers, they need shapes, they need the days of the week. So many topics that young children need just to communicate within that language. So that's what we're trying to introduce to the children.
Introducing yourself. Hello, what's your name?
My name is Sarah. What's your name?
I'm Sam. Now it's your turn.
As we mentioned at the beginning, the audio CD is there to help, and the track, the appropriate track, is mentioned on each of the pages within the students' book, so the children and the teachers know exactly where to find the information so they can hear native speakers pronouncing and making these statements, and then they can copy them. So it's a very exciting way of learning that the children love. They need to know about the clothes they're wearing. In this picture, we've got Jumping Jim saying, can I have a red jacket, please? And always remembering our manners. Thank you. So we're teaching correct use of the language. Of course, young children want to know about animals. They want to know about all these child-friendly topics. And as I said at the beginning, Fix It Phonics is a child-friendly programme trying to encourage the children to want to learn, to enjoy the learning experience. And then we need to practice and develop and extend their language, their understanding, using sentences, using language construction in the proper way. Do you like dogs? No, I hate dogs. I love cats. Whatever it happens to be. Just practicing and getting used to expressing themselves, their ideas, their likes and their dislikes. Throughout the programme, we're encouraging the children to extend their vocabulary and speak and talk in a quicker and faster way. But it's also about learning those sounds. And again, this quick dash revision of those sounds will help the children have an instant and automatic response. When they see a shape, they will know that that shape makes a particular sound. So quickly they will understand the sounds associated with all 26 letters in the alphabet. Unfortunately, we also, in the English language, have sounds that make letters that make more than one sound. The vowels come into this category, and I know from experience these often cause confusion. Annie Apple will be the character who will introduce the first letter of the alphabet.
Listen.
I'm Annie Apple. I say ah.
I'm Eddie Elephant. I say, eh.
I'm Impy Ink. I say, I. I'm Oscar Orange. I say, oh.
I'm Uppy Umbrella. I say, ah.
When introduced in this way, the children can hear that the sounds are different. These sounds are not the same, and so we try to avoid confusion between the sounds by making sure they understand and can identify those individual sounds. We do this not just by hearing those chants, but also by singing songs.
Let's sing.
I am Annie Apple. I am a talking apple. I say ah ah ah. I say ah ah ah.
And you can introduce using the actions at the same time.
Around. In fact, have you heard we're in almost every word? I am Eddie Elephant. I am a talking elephant. I say eh eh eh. I say eh eh eh. We are the vowel sounds. There are lots of us around. In fact, have you heard we're in almost every word? I am Impy Ink. I am a talking ink bottle. I say I.
Sticky fingers.
I say I. We are the vowel sounds. There are lots of us around. In fact, have you heard we're in almost every word? I am Oscar Orange. I am a talking orange. I say oh oh oh. I say oh oh oh. We are the vowel sounds. There are lots of us around. In fact, have you heard we're in almost every word? I am Uppy Umbrella. I am a talking umbrella. I say ah ah ah. I say ah ah ah. We are the vowel sounds. There are lots of us around. In fact, have you heard we're in almost every word? Oh, all five of us are vowel sounds, and there's lots of us around.
The children will have been introduced to each of those 5 characters as we've gone through the introduction of the alphabet. So they will already be familiar with them. But now, explaining that these are the 5 vowels and these are the sounds they make in words, helps them to identify, put them together, but retain that difference. Hearing them making those different sounds together in that song explains that ah is different from ah. Children will do exercises identifying the right sound to put into words, either at the beginning or in the middle sound. So as they develop through the Fix It Phonics programme, so they understand that the sound that they need between the b and the d to create the word bed, they can hear that eh sound in the middle, and so they will put the eh between the b and the d to understand and interpret and write the word bed. But we can still use our live spelling techniques, we can still play at games, we can make use of all sorts of teaching techniques, all of which are explained very clearly within the programme. Making use of rhyme helps the children, again, to retain some information. Clever Cat is a cat. Harry Hatman has a hat. Putting those sounds together helps the children with their reading and understanding. Unfortunately, however, as I've already said, vowels can cause complications, not only because some of the sounds are fairly similar, but also because each of the vowels make at least two sounds, and some of them many more. Annie Apple we've been introduced to already, but actually hiding behind that plain letter shape, we may just find Mr. A. Mr. A makes the sound that we hear at the beginning of apron. So Mr. A is the apron man. Mr. E is the easy magic man. Mr. I likes to sell ice creams, while the old man from over the ocean is Mr. O. Mr. U looks very smart in his uniform. He collects umbrellas, but he makes the long U sound that we hear in various words. These characters are then explained to the children. And then we can practice to make sure the children can hear the difference between these sounds and whether they are listening to Mr. A or Annie Apple in a word like say or a word like name. So we're practicing, we're making use of the experience, the knowledge that the children are gaining. Blending sounds like the S and the K at the beginning of skip and ski and skirt, so that the children are hearing Sammy Snake, followed by the kicking king at the beginning of those words. But they're not making a different sound, they're not making an individual sound, we're still hearing Sammy, followed by the kicking king, followed by the rest of the word as we read skip, ski, skirt. So we blend the sounds together.
Level 1, Student Book 2. Let's blend. Bull, end, blend. Bouncy Ben and Lucy Lamplight blend together to start words like black and blue. Listen. Bull, bull, blue, black. Listen to their song.
Bouncy Ben saw a yellow light blazing in the black, black night. Help, he blinked, I cannot see. Lucy, you are blinding me.
Oh, cried Lucy, that won't do. Hold on while I change to blue. Now kind Lucy shines blue light whenever Bouncy Ben's in sight.
And so Bouncy Ben, followed by Lucy Lamplight, followed by Eddie Elephant, followed by Noisy Nick, followed by Dippy Duck, all those individual characters that the children have learned about are now together in a word, and we can blend them together so that we can hear those sounds in the word blend. Practicing, extending the children's vocabulary, all great fun if you can listen to the words of the song. You don't need to understand every single word, just listen for particular sounds and see if you can hear them. So we use lots of different teaching techniques, lots and lots of different ways to make learning fun, exciting and interesting in a child-friendly way to encourage the children to want to learn. And that's what Fix It encapsulates. It puts all those techniques into the teacher's hand to use according to the needs of your class, the children that you're trying to encourage to learn. Enjoy it, please. Making use of our ebooks or our iTunes, which are available for you to download from the various resources that you can and ways you can. Making this puzzle of reading, writing and spelling come alive, making it more interesting for children to learn the magic of English. Please, as I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, please refer to our website, which has far more information. And if you have questions, if you have anything that you want to ask, that's what we're here for. Letterland, I would say it's fun. I'd say it's child-friendly when you're using our approach. But it still causes problems. It still causes difficulties. And if we can help, that's what we want to do. Other teachers, however, say that it's simple. It's easy to learn stories that are engaging and lively for my students to quickly grasp and memorise, so that other teachers around the world are encouraged, and we encourage you to join us using our material. Hope this has been helpful. If we can help further, please feel free to be in touch with us. From Lynn Wendon, the originator of the programme, she wishes you joy of your wonderful shared journey of discovery in the land of words. And she sincerely hopes that Letterland gives you and them a lifelong love of learning English. Thank you for watching this presentation. Please send any questions you have to training@letterland.com, and one of the training team will be delighted to get back to you and help in any way they can with your specific and individual problems.